MIAA Monday back again this week. MIAA Commissioner Mike Racy joining me. We are inching closer to the start of fall sports season. Sir, how are you doing today?
I'm doing really good, Chris. Excited to get things started. Lots of teams practicing, a few scrimmages going on, so a lot of activity around the MIAA, and we'll be kicking off games here in a matter of days.
When we talk next week, it'll be right before the start of MIAA football season. I know that's one of the more anticipated ones for a lot of fans. But before we get into the rest of the topics today, I just want to kind of, figure out what gets you the most excited for, fall sports season. I know we've talked about, how long it's been 2 years, but what do you look forward to most when this is kind of the kickoff for the entire academic year too?
Well, I really enjoy going to our communities on game day, whether that's a big volleyball match or a football game or a big basketball game. We have passionate fans in the MIAA. They show up and they cheer and a lot of passion for their teams. And as commissioner, that's the thing I look forward to. I love being able to follow all the action on the MIAA network and watch any game I want, but it doesn't replace being there. It doesn't replace standing on the sideline and looking up at the crowd, whether that's at Northwest Missouri or in Central Oklahoma, all over the MIAA. Great crowds, great venues, great stadiums, and that's a big reason why a lot of these talented student athletes decide to come to MIAA schools. They know we lead the nation in attendance. They know that they're going to be playing in front of big crowds, big time games, exciting games. So that's what I missed last year, and that's what I'm looking forward to getting back to this year. Being in that environment, a big homecoming game, a family weekend, whatever the case, and looking up and seeing a big crowd cheering on an exciting MIAA game.
Just to follow up, just kind of something you touched on there, we've talked about before, but looking at this from 10,000 feet, MIAA is arguably the best Division II conference out there. The players know that, student athletes know that when they get recruited. The coaches know what they have to do to, keep that standard. How does the conference look at the responsibility of remaining one of the top, tier conferences in Division II?
It's a huge responsibility. It's a huge challenge, and it's what keeps us motivated every day to come into the conference office and work. And it's why we do things like having the divisions only subscription-based network, sports media network. It's why we moved our conference offices from an office building in downtown Kansas City where no one knew where we were to a very prominent, visible location with lots of traffic at Hy-Vee Arena. It's why we play our softball championship at the ASA softball complex in Oklahoma City, where they stage the College World Series. It's why we play our basketball tournament at historic Municipal Auditorium. A lot of Division II conferences play on campus, and if they tried to play at a neutral site, they wouldn't have anyone show up. And so we have a huge responsibility as a conference to allow the conference to be as big time as the environment that our member schools create. And it's a challenge, but it's also a great opportunity and one that we talk about every day in the conference office.
Let's kind of switch gears, I guess, a little bit and go into a topic we've talked about quite a bit, this summer. It kind of, I guess, came right at us, the name, image, and likeness that is sweeping through, all of college athletics. I know the MIAA has done quite a bit to kind of be out in front of this and kind of help, the institutions, student athletes, coaches. I guess let's start there with the fact of, instead of idling, sitting by and kind of letting it come to you guys, why was there almost a sense of maybe aggressiveness and kind of saying, okay, we want to get this done for the coaches, the institutions, student athletes? Why was there that sense of, we got to be out in front of this and, not be left behind, so to speak?
Yeah, I think the reason that we've taken such an aggressive and active participation in name, image, likeness from the conference standpoint is that times have changed, and we really have two choices. We can complain about it and sit around and watch and see what others are going to do, or we can get active and try to turn this new area, name, image, likeness, into opportunities for the MIAA as a conference and for our member schools. And to me, this is the future. This is where recruiting battles are going to be fought. And I think I hope that in most all of our sports in the MIAA, by putting ourselves out as the destination of where student athletes who want to compete for championships, get a good education, and have an opportunity to market themselves and take advantage of opportunities with name, image, likeness, the MIAA is the place to be. And if you're thinking about those opportunities, whether it's in Division II or an FCS Division I opportunity, you need to look at the MIAA, and that's what I want our coaches talking about. And I think name, image, likeness really gives the MIAA an opportunity to step out, be aggressive, be on the front of something exciting and new.
Is it a tricky balance of, you talk about recruiting, of name, image, likeness is going to be a big thing because student athletes are getting paid, just on that name, image, and likeness, while also trying to, still recruiting sell the institution for academics? Is that a tricky balance of not making it seem only about athletics, while you're also trying to keep, the face of institutions there too?
Yeah, it is. And I think our coaches, Chris and have historically done a great job of helping student athletes understand that very few of them will have a professional sport opportunity, and they really need to think about where they go to college because of the degree they want to pursue, the type of education that they'll get, the reputation of that particular institution. And we have a lot to sell in the MIAA. We're primarily a collection of regional public medium-sized universities with histories that go back, to not the late 1900s, but the early 1900s or the 1800s. So we've got great institutions, and I think our coaches, when they talk to recruits, really the degree, the academics, the graduation is just as important as talking about coming and competing for national championships. But what I want to add to those conversations that's so important in Division II, where we have a partial scholarship model, is that I want our student athletes to find ways to come to MIAA schools, get a good education, play for a national title, but not have to take out a student loan or not have to take out a huge student loan to do that. And name, image, likeness, and money and resources that students can bring, very few of them are on a full scholarship. So they're on a partial scholarship. They're getting their tuition paid or their books, and they've got to find other sources to help pay for that education, whether it's another academic grant, mom and dad helping out, a summer job, or for a lot of our student athletes, it's a student loan. And anything we can do to help lessen that student debt when students graduate is a good thing.
We haven't seen the cautionary tales yet of, an NIL deal going against, NCAA rules or the student athlete being taken advantage of for whatever reason, whether it's an agent or anything of that nature. How does the MIAA help maybe coaches, maybe it's more the institution, or maybe it's the student athletes themselves, navigate that? Because I'm sure there is going to be some questions about, is this still NCAA approved if I take this NIL, or am I just getting taken advantage of by someone who's actually an agent or something like that? That's not being full transparency.
So within days of the NIL going into effect in early July, the MIAA as a conference, we announced a new partnership that we had entered into. It's an NIL service, a name, image, likeness service that's called Empower You. And Empower You is was organized by a local Kansas City law firm, Siegfried Bingham. They have a sports and entertainment law division, and we asked them for some help in thinking about types of services that they might be able to offer to our member schools, and then also if our student athletes need some assistance on the name, image, likeness front. And we've been very pleased with the first 45 days of that relationship. Our compliance officers in the MIAA at each of our member schools, those are the folks that are getting these questions about institutional policies, interpreting the various state laws in Oklahoma, Nebraska, Kansas. Kansas doesn't have a state law yet, but Missouri just signed one. And it's their job to figure all of this out. They're getting very little support from the NCAA. The NCAA has really taken a hands-off approach, that these are state issues, conference issues, institutional issues. And so we have Empower You, Chris, that's helping our schools with the questions that they're asking. And then if student athletes or student athlete parents want help with questions about a contract or tax issues, or how does this impact my financial aid, or as an international student, whether I can do this type of endorsement, lots and lots of issues that either through the compliance office or seeking individual help with Empower You, student athletes are able to do that. But I think we're one of the few Division II conferences that have actually gone out and contracted third-party service. And I think our compliance officers are happy about that. And it's really necessary when you're dealing with, in our conference, a footprint of schools in 4 different states, and having to figure out what's permitted by state law in all 4 of those states, and how that works versus different institutional policies. Empower You's been very helpful. Through our contract, we also have some educational resources, some compliance tools, some webinars that they're doing for our coaches and our student athletes. So I'm excited about the launch, and I think it's going to be a very important tool in allowing the MIAA and our schools to be successful in this area of name, image, likeness.
I've seen a couple of different NIL deals kind of come out. There's a lot of different ways these can go at this point, some unique ways. I know Missouri Western softball player Emma Hotford, she went through Degree, and one of their marketing campaigns they're doing. Diego Bernard at Northwest, he's got one too, subscription based for his. Mm-hmm. As we look at kind of how this is evolving, just is this going to be something where the student athletes have to juggle a lot to figure out if this is the best case for them, or they have to do a lot of research and figure out what's the best way instead of just trying to get paid. Maybe this is the best way to enhance my marketing ability, enhance, just my opportunities.
Well, so a couple of things at play there. One, all of our compliance offices have talked with our MIAA student athletes to remind them that before they sign anything, they need to bring that opportunity to the compliance office and take a look at that opportunity, compare it to the institution's name, image, likeness policy. There may be some companies or some entire areas that a institution may restrict a student athlete from being able to associate with a company that's involved in alcohol sales or tobacco or something like that. So student athletes are cautioned that, hey, before you sign anything, take it to the school's compliance office. The school's compliance office will work with Empower You if there are questions that need to be answered. And then the other thing that's happened is the NCAA has, through policy, said that student athletes in all three divisions can have an attorney or an agent that helps them review these opportunities and advise and provide counsel. And so student athletes, they need to be careful about, the length of the term and what they're agreeing to. I think there are a few stories about a few of these deals where student athletes had actually signed away their name, image, and likeness well beyond when they graduate from college. So, they may leave, but some barbecue restaurant may still have rights to use their name or image in advertising. So, students need to be careful about all of that. They need to understand that this is income. There's a tax consequence. They need to understand that there's a contract legal issues at play. So we've tried to do a good job of helping our students understand and be cautious, but also pointing them to some of these resources of places where they can get some assistance and help.
Just kind of looking at, some of the opportunities, I think autograph signings and, basketball camps or, baseball camps, softball camps, and, getting, being instructors in that sort. Or is that some of the maybe the bigger opportunities for Division II level athletes is maybe those local autograph signings or those camps that they can, charge for to have, younger kids come in and learn from them? Is that maybe where a lot of Division II may see their money come in at?
Yeah, I think so. I think for student athletes, those are going to be the individual opportunities that they need to be prepared to take advantage of. If a student athlete has a large social media following for some reason, or they have some skills and talents that a Home Depot or someone else would be interested in, that may lend itself to an endorsement, a Saturday afternoon signing autographs. All of these things have to be done in a way that that student athlete isn't being compensated for his or her athletic skills. That business is seeing something about that student athlete that that they want to align with, that they want to associate with, and all of those things allow these partnerships or agreements to be reached. But yeah, I think you hit on the ones that are primarily what we're seeing in the MIAA and across Division II. There are a couple of things, Chris, that I've seen at the Division I level that I find very interesting. And I think they're things that we're starting to talk about in the MIAA of ways to really allow our communities and our institutions to think about helping groups of student athletes. And when you start to talk about that, then you really begin to impact, ways to work around scholarship limits or other restrictions, financial restrictions that a program or a sport might find themselves in. For instance, a school that right now is maybe has 10 offensive linemen, and all 10 of those offensive linemen are getting anywhere from just their books paid for to their tuition paid for. No one's above, a half a scholarship. Maybe there's an opportunity like what we've seen at the University of Arkansas or Wisconsin, where a business has signed on the entire offensive line as a group endorsing their product. At Arkansas, I think it was a barbecue joint.
Yeah.
And they're paying, they're paying all of 10 of those athletes to talk about how great this barbecue is, and to come and eat in their restaurant and to do appearances and to sign autographs. Well, if those opportunities are there, perhaps going forward, that school can start to think of, well, our offensive linemen have this opportunity with this restaurant, so we can use actually scholarship money that we were going to use to recruit them to come to our school. We can use that now to enhance our running back scholarships or our linebacker scholarships, because we can go out and recruit any offensive lineman we want. It's not based on their skill. It's the fact that they're an offensive lineman. Hey, offensive lineman, come to our school, and you're going to be part of this barbecue joint promotion. That begins to open up some opportunities, I think, that we need to explore and make sure that all of that, is permitted through our institutional policies and our state law. Another one, Chris, that I saw that makes you wonder if this is kind of the future in how you begin to package aid and recruit students in Division II is what we saw happen at BYU. BYU partnered with a company that decided that they were going to pay the tuition for all 36 of the walk-on student athletes at BYU. They didn't say the walk-ons that have a chance of catching the ball or running the ball or kicking the ball. It's every single walk-on. All 36 of them are now receiving $3,000 a year, the equivalent of tuition at BYU, and so through this corporate partnership, BYU has found a way to get some resources to walk-ons that will help them pay for school. And again, another creative approach that some Division II schools might look at as ways to work around, some of the scholarship limits or pressures that they might find themselves in because of institutional funding or program restrictions or other limitations. So, those are a couple of examples that I think, while right now they're at the Division I level, I think that there are some creative coaches and administrators that are going to find ways to bring that to Division II institutions. And I want to make sure that the MIAA is at the top of the list of schools that are trying to figure this out and figure out how to make that happen.
I'll get you out of here on this question, because I think, this could be maybe something we start seeing, 6 months from now too. The pressures of maybe, they're not technically supposed to be about high performance on the field, on the court, but the pressures that student athletes may feel to say, I've got to get my name out there more. I've got to find a way to, want brands to want me to represent them. Is that a pressure that we may see student athletes face, whether it's real or not for them, that I've got to find a way to, to get this, company to want to, I guess, partner with me, and I have to perform really well on the field to do that?
Yeah, I hope, I hope that we can maintain an attribute that we've talked a lot about in Division II for a long time, and that's the sense of balance, and that our student athletes feel like they really have a balanced experience where they can be, fully integrated and engaged with the rest of the student body. So, no different probably than some of the pressure that, a music student might feel on trying to find a recital that they can do, or a student that's in the fine arts that wants to be an actor, is finding side gigs that they can do to continue to get experience, and I think we'll have some of those pressure points for student athletes. I think our coaches understand that it's a new day, so some of the activities that students may in previous years spend a lot of time on video games and hanging out with friends, watching television. Now the new student experience is going to be building up social media following and spending a lot more time on social media, and whatever that looks like. But I hope, to answer that specifically, I really hope that 5 years from now, when we're having these conversations looking back at these opportunities at name, image, likeness, that we're still going to talk about balance in Division II of a student that's able to balance kind of their time between athletics and academics and doing things in the community, and also growing their individual brand, whatever that looks like. And for a lot of our students in Division II, that brand is balance, and they'll find businesses and companies that want to feature students that are balanced, that have a balanced experience, that are pursuing degrees and are thinking about life after graduation and how they'll contribute to their communities, and how their experience at an MIAA school will allow them to be leaders in their communities. And there are companies and businesses that want to find those type of people to be spokespeople and to endorse their products. So, but I think the key is balance, and we've got to do everything we can to preserve that.
MIAA Commissioner Mike Racy, we're knocking on the doors of the fall sports season. Name, image, likeness, it's everywhere at this point. Another fantastic conversation with you, sir. I appreciate you coming on again this week.
Good to see you, Chris. Thanks for your time.